people feel a little resistance to this idea, like, so I just have to always have low expectations, only if you don't want to suffer.
You're listening to Overwhelmed Working Woman, the podcast that helps you be more calm and more productive by doing less. I'm your host, Michelle Gauthier, a former overwhelmed working woman and current life coach. On this show, we unpack the stress and pressure that today's working woman experiences. And in each episode, you'll get a strategy to bring more calm, ease, and relaxation to your life.
Hi, friend. Today I'm going to tell you a story about how I ruined a perfectly good weekend with my very own expectations. If you've ever felt disappointed, even though nothing technically went wrong, I think this is going to resonate with you. This is also the way that we can cause ourselves lots of stress and overwhelm. When you listen today, you're going to learn why our biggest disappointments or frustrations or stress can often come from unspoken expectations. How projecting your plan onto someone else can totally backfire. And then I'll leave you with one small question that you can use to help avoid unnecessary stress and suffering so that you don't have to ruin a perfectly good weekend like I did. There's a saying I love that all suffering lies in the gap between our expectations and reality. A really simple example of that is if you're going on a trip and you have a flight and the flight leaves at 10 a.m., your expectation is that your flight will leave at 10 a.m. And if your flight leaves at 1 p.m. instead because it's delayed, you're suffering. Your expectation was that it was going to leave at 10. The reality is that it left at 1, and that's where the suffering happens. So with that concept in mind, I'll tell you a few weeks ago, we had a huge snowstorm. I live in St. Louis and I was so excited. I'm originally from Minnesota. Yay, Minnesota. So snow is so nostalgic and fun for me and always reminds me of my childhood. I was heading to spend the weekend with the handsome man friend. He lives downtown in a high rise. And so I thought that will be so fun. Not only is it going to snow, but also it'll be so fun because we'll be in the city. I live in the suburbs, so you have to drive everywhere. So we'll be in the city and we can bundle up in cute winter gear and go for a long snowy walk in the park. And I knew a lot of the places would probably be open there because people can walk to get to them. And then I decided we were going to have soup. So I packed the ingredients to make soup and then another recipe that my sister had just told me about. And then we would catch up on watching our shows and just have this super fun, snowy weekend. And the reality was, I woke up that snowy morning and I was so excited. I couldn't wait for him to wake up so that we could get going on this super fun winter day. And it turns out he really had zero interest, especially in walking outside. And he was saying he felt trapped inside with the snow. So he wanted to get in the car and do something and go somewhere. But in my mind, the best part of it was that we were in the city and we could walk places and we could be out in the snow and it was going to be so much fun. And eventually I was like, this walk is the only thing that I want to do. So we just disagreed on what to do. And eventually I was like, please walk somewhere with me. This is like the one thing that I want to do today. And he was like, okay. He did it because I really wanted to, but he definitely didn't want to. And we walked to our favorite pizza and wine bar place. And it was actually really lovely. It was very picturesque. It was like snowing outside while we were sitting in the warm. It was perfect. Exactly what I was hoping for. And then we started walking back and it was freezing cold and the fun of the walk had worn off. And we got back to his place and hung out a little bit and it was fine. And then I said, okay, maybe I should get started on the soup for dinner. He's, I'm really not hungry. Are you hungry? And I was like, no, I'm not hungry either because we had this late lunch because I made us go out for pizza. But I had planned that we were going to have that soup and I was still so disappointed that we didn't. All along the way, every time my expectation didn't get met and it got met with the reality of someone else who didn't want to do everything that I wanted to do, I kept feeling disappointed and frustrated. In my mind, my expectation was, we're going to walk, we're going to cook, we're going to watch our show. But really, those were my expectations. I didn't communicate them. I just assumed that he would be on the same page. I could have absolutely changed my expectations. My expectations could have been, I want to go for a walk, or I'm making soup, no matter if we don't feel like eating it, just because I want to do it. So when I look back, here's what I did to create my own disappointment. Assume someone else was on the exact same page as me. Okay, with humans, it's very unusual that people are just automatically on the same page. So that wasn't good. If your expectations include another person, go ahead and ask them. Go ahead and say, hey, this is what I was thinking. Is that what you were thinking? So that you can set realistic expectations, or choose to do things you want to do that are totally in your control without requiring anyone else to do them with you. Sometimes people feel a little resistance to this idea, like, so I just have to always have low expectations, only if you don't want to suffer. It's totally up to you. Just as a reminder, we don't suffer because of what happens. We suffer because of the gap between what we expected and what actually occurred. So if you want to feel more in control of your time and your mood and your joy, start noticing your own expectations. Communicate them clearly, or take responsibility and create expectations that are fully in your own control. I will say, when I finish working with clients, I will ask them some of the most impactful things that they've learned that they're going to keep for the rest of their life. And this concept is one of the big ones. Learning to notice what your expectations are and set expectations that are in your own control. If this is an area where you struggle and you are interested in working with me, this is exactly what I do, and I would love to help you set yourself up for success. I have a one-on-one coaching spot open, and I would love to talk to you about it. The link for a free consultation is in the show notes. That's it. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to the Overwhelmed Working Woman podcast. If you want to learn more about my work, head over to my website at michellegothier.com. See you next week.